We can go ahead and get started, yeah, right?
Yeah, you can stop the music and then we can jump in.
Figure out how to turn off this music. All right, there we go.
Cool. Winston, you got your camera on, or is it just me having it on? It's no big deal.
We're picking on Pineco here as well. Let's see. Here we go.
There it is.
Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hello. I'm going to actually pull up our YouTube as well. It's on our DFW Hugs group, right?
Yeah, I'm going to turn off some of these things because I'm getting some echoes here.
Okay, go for it.
Does the echo go away?
I am not hearing any echo, but I could be.
Oh, okay. Well, we're live. So, guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're here with Anuj from Austin. So, guys, up and coming, wonderful. What do you want to call it? A Hugs member, speaker.
Let's call it that. Yep.
He's ready to do the Super Bowl for us here, announcing everything, making this a very exciting, entertaining place to be today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So take it away, Anuj. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Wences. Also, we have sitting there as well as Eric. He's my colleague. He'll be kind of sitting in the background as our shadow SE. Just to introduce myself a little bit, everyone. My name is Anuj Singh. I'm a solutions engineer here at HashiCorp. I've been at Hashi for about a year and 10 months now. Prior to that, I was doing some stuff in the cloud sector with IBM, Google Cloud, Azure, AWS. So a lot of cloud experience. And I was using Terraform quite a bit. And that kind of drove me towards HashiCorp and to join. So today, what I wanted to actually talk about is our Consul Terraform Sync. So we've got two products, Consul and Terraform. They solve different issues, but are connected when you think about it in a DevOps workflow. So when I think of Terraform, I'm thinking IAC, so infrastructure as code. And if you're not familiar with infrastructure as code, it's just a templated way of creating infrastructure in a cloud provider or a data center of your choice. So what Terraform does is through HCL, our language, or you could probably use YAML or JSON as well. We accept that, but you want to use HCL, is declare infrastructure to be provisioned. So let's say I'm in AWS and I want to provision a VPC. Well, I can write those rules and I can write that methodology down in Terraform in what we call like a main.tf file and use that to actually provision infrastructure. And then on the other side of the house, you've got Consul, which is more in the networking realm. When we think about microservices and we're thinking IP versus service in terms of actually being able to, make a application or a group of applications available to the rest of your ecosystem, that's where Consul fits in. It's a service mesh and service discovery tool. So if you're familiar with service mesh and service discovery, it goes very hand in hand when we think microservices and we think container-based technology or container orchestrators. So on our side, we also have another product called Nomad, which is our container orchestrator. And then I'm sure anybody who's watching this knows what Kubernetes is, which is, the premier for Linux containers, Docker-based containers. So when we think about actually creating a robust network within an organization, it really falls into how is our network layers being provisioned, and are they being provisioned at the right time when new services are being spinned up, when new instances are being spinned up, and then also how do you bake in security to that equation as well, right? Once a new network is set up, what are the firewall guidelines around that? What ports are open? These are things your security team is going to wonder and ask you questions for. And so this console Terraform mesh that we see is when a new service is being spun up, or when a new service is added to a service registry or catalog, or there is a change, there's going to be infrastructure that needs to support that new service, particularly on the network side. And this is where we get into the idea of NIA, which is network infrastructure automation. When I need new VNets, when I need new subnets or VLANs, or even when we get into like the VPC realm, the VPC also is kind of sitting in that networking idea, right? And I have these new ports and I need them automatically spun up when a new service hits my service registry, like console. Well, I need some infrastructure automation there. And that's really where we see the value of bringing in Terraform to this concept. And I will now start sharing my screen so we can actually see the deck I want to present. All righty. So it should say console Terraform sync for Terraform Cloud. I am going to actually pull up the YouTube to make sure it shows that.
It's working. We can see it.
Oh, thank you, Wences. Awesome. All righty. So as I said, I kind of gave a briefer or a primer on what console Terraform sync is for Terraform Cloud. And I should explain also as well what Terraform Cloud is versus Terraform OSS. So our OSS solution was built out in the beginning. Terraform was one of our founding products. I'd like to say it came Vagrant kind of walked for Terraform to run. And Terraform Cloud is our enterprise solution for Terraform OSS. So when we're thinking OSS, it really is around the idea of I'm an individual contributor or an individual developer, and I'm building some Terraform for myself. Well, I can just use the OSS because I'm not managing a lot of state files. I'm not managing a lot of infrastructure. I'm doing a side project. Whereas when you think about Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise, it's really around the idea of for businesses to be able to actually utilize Terraform in a compliant way rather than kind of going off of their own scaffolding in the OSS. So Terraform Cloud essentially is our SaaS solution for Terraform. So we offer Terraform as a service to you, and we are storing your state files, encrypting a lot of your data in the back end of our SaaS solution, Terraform Cloud. So as I talked about a little bit earlier on, when we think DevOps and why network infrastructure automation kind of plays a part in this, is it really wrapped around the idea of the services that are in that network and the infrastructure that needs to be created within that network. So it goes to that compute layer. How is that being orchestrated? How is that being created? And how am I making sure that it's able to talk to the other services it needs to talk to and not talk to the services it's not supposed to? So you've got this continuous integration, delivery, and then deployment, and yay, your service is ready for consumption. Well, it says DevOps promise, right? Because a lot of things are promised, but promises sometimes don't get fulfilled. You can run into a lot of real world issues, whereas continuous deployment, even if you have that automated release to a repo, that deployment to production can rarely be automated. Or if you don't have it automated, you get into this idea of things have to be done manually. So you have this delivery pipeline that's pushing out healthy code that is creating an application or a service of your choice. But then there's that manual step there that slows the process down. Now you've got human resources allocated. You've got people in there that are actually, approving a PR request or a merge request or approving this infrastructure to be consumed. And that stops the service from being spun up and adding into your network layer. The service kind of has to wait for that manual deployment. And then when you get into the idea of actual DevOps, where you have agile teams that have 2-week sprints to deliver something, well, at the end of that sprint, if they're waiting for manual deployment, Well, that's going to add another few days on top of that. How many people are actually going to approve this? Who's looking at it, and what are they looking to approve? These things are all done by a human, whereas they should honestly be automated. And then you get to this manual ticket-based workflow for that deployment cycle. So app developer and server admin are like, okay, the app developer needs to scale that app out. The server admin says, all right, I'll submit a ticket. And then the network admin's like, all right, well, this is an application and I have to connect it to my, complex network of other applications. Where is this workload assigned in terms of its IP address? Is this going to be an update? Am I patch updating a already known service, or is this a completely new service? And so once that network admin gets this, they're able to kind of integrate it in correctly to the network. But then you've got the security ops team as well saying, is the firewall policy updated? Is it updated for each IP address? They have to come in and understand as well. So these are the actors when we go into this manual approach for deployment. The developer wants its app out there and ready for consumption, and there are a lot of things that need to be done before it gets there. So network challenges for enterprises. These are a little bit of marketing slides on our end, so I'll breeze through it. It's increased risk, slow processes, and lack of standardization. So the solution that we propose is the idea of network infrastructure automation. So when I think about it, day 0 and day 1, I want to understand how to automate my infrastructure. So I go into Terraform and I start learning how to write Terraform code and creating infrastructure in my network layer. Like I said, subnets, VNets, VLANs, things like that. And then after that, once I'm able to actually understand this is how I provision and automate the infrastructure that needs to be created, well, how do I make sure that the services within my infrastructure are actually able to talk to each other? And then this is where we get into the idea of network infrastructure automation, so that when a new service is being built, there's some automation in place that adds it to that network, which in this case would be Console and Terraform. So Terraform's doing the heavy lifting of creation, and Console's kind of keeping track in this catalog, this service catalog of the applications that are being created. So the sync. The Console catalog updates with new service registrations and changes. This is how it works. When Console gets a new service or a new registered service in the service registry, it's updated inside a catalog. And this catalog inside Console is going to have ACL controls around it as well. So let's say I have service A, B, C, and D. Well, service D just gets added to the service catalog. It's in the registry. Yay, we're happy. But am I allowing service D to talk to all 3 other services, or do I need to think about it in the sense that it only should have access to the services that it depends on? So it could be like a 3-tier application where you've got, storage layer or an S3 bucket, and then you've got some databases as well, and then you've got a front-facing Node.js app, and it's the stack where each one can be agilely developed on its own, where you have a team of developers working in each part of the stack, but that's one team, and that's one application being delivered, a 3-part application. They are all tightly coupled because they all depend on each other. But what about application B's team? Do they have to have the same tightly coupledness and the same ACL controls for networking between them two, or is it different? And this is where you get into the idea of policies when you have a service mesh, and ACL controls when you have a service mesh. So we'll get into it a little bit. I'm just going to move up a little bit so we want to see the actual cool. So like I said, what the CTS generates is a new Terraform manifest that is automatically applied inside Terraform Cloud. So as I'm registering new services, as I'm registering new applications, Terraform Cloud is getting a run or a trigger that says, all right, there's a new service that needs to be added to the network. That's going to require some new networking, I'd like to call it plumbing in a sense. Let me go in and actually use Terraform to create that network. So CTS for Terraform Cloud, some more marketing here, but better practices and it reduces risk. It's automation at your pace, and it gets everyone on the same page. And essentially that's exactly what it does. In terms of it helping an actual business out in a practical sense, it's really around the idea, like I said, of being proactive in network infrastructure and making sure that as you're adding new services and new applications, that all of the scaffolding under it is being automated when we're creating. And it's all about agility. And so automation at your own pace. So the outcome of this is, if you remember from the beginning when I was talking about that DevOps practice, that deployment cycle of a service, we want to get away from manual ticket-based deployments, and we want to have this CTS sync where there's no human involvement and there's a cleanup afterwards. So you can set up an automation for your Terraform destroy or your Terraform apply. It just depends on how long you need that network set up, how long that service is going to need to be set up. A use case you can find a lot of the times is on peak traffic hour for a lot of companies that are running their customer facing applications on Kubernetes. During peak traffic time, they might need to scale out. And so they might need to create a new cluster. And this new cluster is going to have new pods, new containers. And all of that needs to be integrated back into the network. And that's where a service mesh and then that infrastructure being created by Terraform comes really handy. Is during those peak times where you have a lot of traffic coming in and you need a way to set it up without having to wait, multiple days for engineers to come in and say, yes, you can actually create this. An idea could be around like Black Friday or Christmas or the holiday season. For a lot of retail companies, their websites are getting clicked on quite a bit. And because of that, they need to manage traffic. And you don't want, in that scenario, having a team of developers having to wait and approve every single request that comes in for infrastructure. You want speed and you want a proactive based policy approach rather than testing afterwards with your team. Was this right or was this wrong? And we have a pretty big ecosystem when it comes to our partners. I know I just did a event with Palo Alto Networks just yesterday with their Prisma Cloud solution. And then obviously we have the big cloud providers like AWS, GCP, and Azure, as well as F5 for load balancing. And I will talk a little bit about load balancing with Console. That service catalog idea I was talking about, there's two ways you can kind of get into the service. You can have an external load balancer that connects to the service catalog and does that like heavy lifting. Okay, this API request goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Or you could utilize Console's API gateway as well as a way of managing, the traffic towards your network that Console has created. And we partner with, F5. We partner with Traffic, I believe, as well. Another, I think it's spelled TRIFEC, another load balancer, or K at the end, another load balancing service that works well with us. So Console in its essence is that service mesh and service catalog, but we integrate with I'd say about 99% of most of the tools out there when it comes to building around a service catalog. And the same thing would go with Terraform. And that's it for that. Winsis, are you still around? No.
We are here.
Gotcha. Cool. So I wanted to ask you if you had any questions or wanted to ask me if I had any questions. If not, I can also go through some stuff we have in our roadmap, which would be really cool, but just wanted to see if you want to have a discussion while we're live.
No, actually, we were checking for questions and I haven't seen any yet, but
Gotcha.
but yeah, it's good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. So should we
Eric,
stop?
do you have any questions?
Yeah, if Eric's still there.
Love to hear from Eric. Questions out there? Hey, Eric, do you have any questions? Do you see anything out there? Can you hear us?
No questions. No questions.
Anything you wanted to add about Console, man?
I can. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one cool thing that's coming is the global dashboard stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So being able to get like an aggregated view of all HCP console clusters and also on-prem console clusters on like in a single place. So that is coming down the pipe soon, and I think some folks are pretty excited about that. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that with Console itself, we're iterating on top of it, not just for a sync with Terraform, but as its own standalone service mesh tool. And I was looking at that as well. And I also see that we're doing a lot of stuff with console and Lambda. So I'm interested in seeing how Cloud Functions works with console as well, setting that up in scenarios where you would think like IoT, or you would think, edge computing with IoT. You could have functions out there at your actual like your center, whether it's like an oil rig, or it could be just a factory that has IoT services that console can really help mesh around. So very cool stuff.
So is
100%. A lot more stuff is going serverless too. So the Lambda stuff's pretty exciting, because if you can avoid deploying a virtual machine these days to get an application out, do it.
So you guys have any recommendations for people to just start playing with this stuff? Is there like a home lab thing, or is there something you guys want to do over this month, maybe on our next session, that shows guys how to set up stuff so they can play with it?
Yeah. I think a good, I think I can speak for Eric here when I say that learn.hashicorp.com is a really, really good starting point when it comes to messing around with any of our tools. So you go there, you'll be able to set up like a local console cluster on your laptop. This is a development one, and play around with it and see how it works. And then in a future session, what we can do, if we have participants, whether it's in person or virtual, we can set up a lab environment where in Instruct, one of our tools that we use, and see if people want to do that live for the next stream. So definitely things we can look into.
Yeah. So guys, if y'all want, put stuff in any commentary or any questions, and let us know what you'd like for us to present and show you in the future, and what you guys want to play with, or maybe even if you want to do certifications, or if you need help with certifications, we can help with that as well.
Yeah, I did drop I dropped a link to the Learn Guide for CTS in the YouTube chat there. So that'll get you, there's a whole set of tutorials that you can run through to stand it up on your own, give it a shot, and that'll work with a free Terraform Cloud account that you can experiment with. So,
oh, cool! Thank you.
Okay. Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that is it in terms of content for me, Wences. How are we doing with the chat? Do we have any questions, or can we go off live and we can talk?
Well, I mean, guys, the purpose of this is basically to have a speaker come in once a month, but every week we're going to be doing these. So to be a happy hour, kind of thing. So just let us know what you'd like to talk to. And so, as you can see there, we have at the bottom there the Discord, and that's where we're going to be doing, our stuff, so that we can interact together, right? So everybody can be on video if you want, and you can ask your questions there, and just let us know how things are going, how we're going, and if you want to talk Terraform or console, or you want to talk about barbecue, we can do that as well. I mean, it's basically or hops or anything. I mean, it's all about community building and meeting every once a week. So if you get stumped with something, Anuj or Eric or somebody from the HashiCorp team will also be here to help answer some of those questions as well. So if I don't know it, or they don't know it, we'll find an answer for you. But the whole thing here is really to help build community and to answer any questions you might have, right? And the other thing is on the Discord, we're trying to focus on everywhere. So like in the NOLA region, right, or Texas. So for instance, Eric, he's in Houston, Anuj is in Austin, and I'm here in Dallas. So the thing is to try to have these things out there for the NOLA region, for you guys to ask questions and let us know how we can help and what you guys are looking for, or something pops up, or something you read something and you want to ask about it. You can pop on here and we can talk about it. Or if, for instance, the link that he posted there in the chat, if you're trying to set that up and you're running into some issues, or you have some questions about it, please feel free to ping us, and you don't have to wait weekly. I mean, the whole purpose of the Discord is so that we can have interaction and talk with you guys, during the week or whenever you have that questions, so that, we can be there to help you. But, we're going to try to have these office hours, happy hour once a week, so that you can ask those questions, once a week, or you can ask us when you run into that issue. We'll try to ping you on the Discord, ping us on the Discord. So, please join the Discord, and we can have more fun.
Yeah, I think the idea is we're trying to kind of spread the hug out a little bit wider than just DFW. Wentz and the team have done a great job up there. I know we've got a pretty good amount of folks registered in the Houston meetup group, but there haven't been any in-person events in quite a while. So trying to kind of spin things up, get some more interest here with these virtual hug events. Like Wentz has mentioned, we're going to have just a standing 4 p.m. Every Thursday. We'll have like an office hours in Discord. We're just hanging out. And if folks want to ask questions, come share screen and have us help debug stuff, whatever. Or just talk about whatever topic. We'll be hanging out consistently every Thursday at 4. And then once a month, we'll have somebody like Anuj, maybe next time either Dave Randolph or myself come up and then do a live demo or presentation on some content. So every Thursday at 4, feel free to come hang out. And I usually try to keep that Discord window open too. So if something comes up between those Thursdays, usually one of us is hanging around in there. So
yeah, absolutely.
And we'll try to get some more folks involved.
Yeah. And the same thing goes over here in the Austin region too, right? We're trying to grow our hug as well. And we are doing this partnership across Texas. So we're trying to make this a Texas hug where we all interact and we all have different events going on in different cities. And to Eric's point, every Thursday at 4, we will be in the Discord to answer questions, just to chat. The whole point of this is just to keep the HashiCorp community alive, enjoy the software, and just talk tech. So cool.
Oh, and then the other thing that I wanted to mention is that like once a quarter, we're going to try to do an in-person event. And so we're also thinking about maybe see if we can rotate that out, if we can get some sponsors. So if there's any interested sponsors or partners out there that want to help set something up, you can feel free to reach out to us, and we'll work with you guys to set something up. It can be a happy hour, it can be a lunch and learn, it can be whatever you guys need, or even a breakfast thing, or whatever, breakfast tacos. I love breakfast tacos. Or we can go have barbecue.
Yeah.
Barbecue and beer, those go hand in hand.
That's how you get people out. Feed them.
I mean, for real.
So, any other questions out there, guys? Anything else? Because the other thing is we can stop this and go over to the Discord. So everybody that's still online, if you'd like to join us, let's move over to the Discord, and we can, that way we can have more interactions with you guys, and you guys can be on camera as well, and you can ask us any questions, and we'll just call this the after party, right?
There you go.
Unless you guys have anything else, Anuj or Eric, do you want to say before we shut this down?
Nothing from me. Just learn.hashicorp.com. Try our products. See if you like it.
Yeah, definitely. And
all right.
If
So
anybody out there is in the Houston area, if anybody out there is in the Houston area and is interested in trying to get an in-person event, even if it's just to start off an informal get-together somewhere, definitely reach out to me, because I'd love to try to get some steam going in Houston again. I know there are folks out there, so I'd like to get them back together.
Yep. Same sentiments in the Austin area. Thanks for that, Eric.
So the link's there in the chat. Just click on that. We'll meet you guys over here for the after party in the Discord. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Anuj.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate everything. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.